Hello, everybody. First of all, thank you for taking the time to watch the latest All IP update from CSL. What we'd like to try and do in the next 10 minutes is give you all the latest information that you need to know about Openreach's plans to move everybody from traditional analog PSTN to the new All IP and digital voice platforms, and also where CSL can help you with these transitions. We've got a tried and tested upgrade program. We introduced our upgrade program initially back in 2010. And we've helped hundreds of installers replace tens of thousands of signaling devices to the latest technology solutions. So All IP, Openreach's plans to switch off the PSTN network by December 2025. And I suppose the big challenge that CSL have is when we speak to installers about the PSTN switch off is most companies are working towards that date of December 2025. But the reality is this project has started now, and it's really ramping up. So as a wider industry, we've got a big responsibility to ensure that the 700,000 PSTN connections are updated starting from now. So stop sell, what does stop sell actually mean? Stop sell actually means two different things depending on who you're looking at. So Openreach have announced stop sells of PSTN in a number of exchanges throughout the UK. From an Openreach perspective, stop sell means that you can't buy a new PSTN line. It also means you can't do working line takeovers. You couldn't reconnect a cancelled line. If you move out of your house and somebody else moves in, that person that moves in can't take over that phone line. You can't change communications providers. So if you're out of contract, you couldn't move from Sky to BT, from TalkTalk to PlusNet. You can't add additional services. You can't even modify your bandwidth speed. So stop sell from an Openreach perspective means all of those things that I've just mentioned. But when you come to the next level, when you look at the communications providers, the BTs, the TalkTalks, the Skies and the PlusNets, etc., stop sell for them means that they can move you from analog PSTN to digital voice at any time. So it's really, really important that we don't confuse stop sell with what can actually happen to your phone line. And again, the importance of not working to December 2025, but working towards taking action now. So they've announced a number of stop sells throughout the UK. We can see the original trial that started in December 2020 in Salisbury. The next trial started in May 2021. And since then, there's been a number of exchanges that have entered stop sell. The first big batch was in June 2021. Then we had October 21, January 2022, April 22, August 22, November 2022. We've now got the latest information for February 2023. And by the time we get to September 2023, all exchanges will have been announced as being stop sell. So far, what we know are 550 exchanges have been notified or are already in stop sell, and that will impact 5 million premises. In the last 12 months, 1.4 million PSTN lines have been moved over to digital voice. This really, brings home for me a little bit more over some events over the last few months. There's a company we've dealt with for a number of years over on Merseyside on the Wirral, company called Atlas Fire and Security, and John Piggott is the managing director of Atlas Fire and Security. And John called me back in October 2021 to inform me that he had received his notifications from BT about moving to digital voice. So John, as I said, he's based over in Merseyside, he's based over in the Wirral, and John is in a stop sell area for October 2021. So John knows that he is going into stop sell on the 13th of October 2021, which is this one here, as you can see. At the beginning of October, John gets a letter from BT saying that is he ready for digital voice, explaining that digital voice is coming to his area. There'll be no change to his services that he gets at the moment. He'll keep the same costs, he'll keep the same phone number, but he'll be using a broadband connection rather than the old copper phone line. It also explains what he needs to do when it's his time to move over to digital voice. So that would mean taking his phone line, pulling it out of the master socket, and then plugging the phone into the back of the new router. And when he plugs the phone into the back of the new router, he is then migrated over to digital voice. The real important part that John mentioned to me was the information that it states on the letter that what if I rely on my phone line for services such as burglar alarms and health pendants? And I suppose the real concern here is that does the end user actually read this information in detail, or do they scan through the front page of it just have a quick look at the basic information, and they don't really pay attention to the part on burglar alarms or hell pendants. And also, the person reading that letter, are they the person that's responsible for the security system that's installed in those premises? So a bit of a concern for our wider industry. So I mentioned John got his notification at the beginning of October to say that digital voice was coming to his area. On the 19th of October, John then gets an email notification from BT to advise that he will be moving over to digital voice on the 26th of October. So just to be clear on this, on the 13th of October, he goes into stop sell. At the beginning of October, he gets notified that digital voice is coming. On the 19th of October, he gets 7 days notice to say that he will be moving to digital voice on or around the 26th of October. So stop sell 13th of October, notified of migration at the beginning of October, 7 days notice on the 19th of October, and the 26th of October, no more PSTN at John's home. And then subsequently his dual-com then goes into PSTN fail. John's in the industry, John understands the implications. There are hundreds of thousands of end users that don't realise what these implications are and the potential challenges that we're going to face. So, the real important part in all of this, as I've said before, is that people do often say it's December 2025. Once you go into a stop sell exchange area, you could lose your PSTN line the same week, the same month, the same year, or the following year. This is the real unknown. But once you do go into stop sell, that means that the telecommunications providers can move you from analog PSTN to digital voice at any time. So that is why we all need to take action now to ensure that we don't cause end users, unnecessary line faults, etc. And ultimately, what we don't want are all these digi fails and PSTN fails and local line faults going through. So I keep saying we have a responsibility as a wider industry to ensure that we overcome these challenges. So I think the really important part for us all, again, is to decide how we want to do this. We've got a real opportunity at the moment to look at doing these migrations in the relative calm of 2022 and moving into 2023. And when we talk about doing it in the relative calm, what we mean by that is you've got time to plan your upgrade schedule. You can do your upgrades on maintenance visits. The ARCs are not being swamped with upgrade orders, so they can manage these orders and make sure that they're processed accordingly. There's good stock availability. And the most important part is end users aren't phoning up to say, why didn't you tell me about these potential issues? Why am I finding out now that my system's gone into line fault or local line fail, etc. So doing these in the calm of 2022, I believe, is a really responsible approach to take. Or we can wait for the chaos, which is no time to plan. Extra visits for engineers, backlogs with ARCs, limited stock, and customers complaining. One thing that I'm told by lots of installers is about the shortage of engineers. And as an industry, we have a skill shortage of 30,000 engineers. So if we leave this to the last minute, we just will not have the resource to get these upgrades taking place. And as I said at the beginning of this update, there are 700,000 signaling devices with phone lines connected that we need to do something with, and we need to really start taking action sooner rather than later. So CSL have been working on upgrades for a number of years. As I said before, we launched our upgrade program back in 2010 and have helped hundreds of installers replace tens of thousands of connections over the last 10 or 12 years. So the products that we would be looking to utilise for these upgrades would be the Dualcomm Pro 2 and the Mini Air 2, both of which are extremely successful and provide some great features. The Dualcomm Pro range comes in a number of different formats. We've got the DigiAir Pro, which is single path 4G, utilising 2 roaming SIM cards for additional resilience. We've then got an IP version of DigiAir Pro for those sites where you can't connect to the customer's network. We've also got the Gradeshift Pro range, utilising dual radio, so dual path alarm signalling without any wires at DP2, DP2 Plus, and DP3. So all of the required grades that you need for Gradeshift Pro radio are available for you. And also within that Dualcomm Pro hardware, again, one piece of hardware that does all of these, you've got the option for IP and 4G. IP is a primary path, 4G is a failover, and that 4G failover path is the 2 roaming SIM cards. And the other product we've got, which is one of my favorite products, which is for upgrading digital communicators, is the Mini Air 2. Mini Air 2 is a great opportunity. Firstly, it's extremely cost effective, but because of the size of it, this will fit into all of those really old legacy control panels, which, you think back over the last 20, 25 years, the space inside these control panels is extremely limited. Mini Air 2 will fit in any control panel. It will connect to the existing digital communicator. It will send those alarms safely and securely using dual SIM technology, 2G and 4G LTE-M, deliver those alarm signals securely through to the monitoring station. But also the great feature is it turns that 25-year-old alarm system into a smart panel, because you can now give your end users an app so they will receive notifications, and in some cases the ability to set and unset the alarm utilizing the My Home Alarm app for the Mini Air 2. What we've also had in place are specific upgrade products where you can use these to upgrade your legacy signaling base. So when we talk about special products, what we're talking about here are zero connection fees on the Gradeship Pro DP2 radio, which is really where you'll be looking at upgrading any of the Grade 2 signaling systems that you've got. We've then got a DP2 Plus radio, which is what you would look at replacing any Grade 3 signaling devices. And we've got a DP3 radio, great opportunity to upgrade Grade 4 dual path signaling devices. And then for those installers that decide they want to look at it upgrading to IP and 4G, again, we've got a zero connection fee on the DP3. And also on the Mini Air 2, again, a zero connection fee offering. And this is really to give you the opportunity to plan now to start working to upgrading your customers, your end users, PSTN connections on latest technology. And when we talk about latest technology, one of the things that CSL takes extremely seriously is reducing carbon footprint. And as a business, we're looking at ways of doing that. Utilizing the Dualcom Pro range also gives you the ability to connect to legacy and new control panels for upload, download, remote servicing and diagnostics. And all companies now have more responsibility to demonstrate ways that they're taking, the steps they're taking to reduce carbon footprint. Having the ability to connect to alarm systems remotely, I think will be one of the next big things, and more companies are beginning to take measures to do that. As I said before, we've been doing these upgrade programs for a number of years, started out in 2010, fully supported by all the leading monitoring stations. We have a really slick program in place where we work with your admin team, with your service department to ensure that these upgrades are extremely successful. So what we would say is please speak to your CSL sales manager. We can come in and sit down and talk you through the simple 5 steps that it takes to get you on the road to future-proofing your signaling estate. Again, would like to thank you for taking the time to spend 10 minutes so we could update you on everything that's the latest news on the PSTN switch off and that migration to digital voice. Any questions that you have, please feel free to contact CSL at any time. Thank you very much.